Hi folks, welcome to Monday's Coffee with Jesus. We are this week going to get into something that's pretty heavy but just totally beautiful, and it's Jesus answering the Jewish leaders who are persecuting him. They began to persecute him, we've been told this, and he has claimed that God is his own father, making himself equal with God. And then in verse 19, we read this. This is John 5:19. Jesus gave them this answer: "Very truly I tell you, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does." Whatever the Father does, the Son also does. Now we are getting into really deep stuff here. We're in Hebrews 1. And we're talking here about the submission here of Christ to the Father and this dependence on the Father. So Don Carson says the Father initiates, sends, commands, commissions, grants. The Son responds, obeys, performs his Father's will, and receives authority. Now the real point about all of this is that the Son does not take independent, self-determined action, something that makes him different to the Father. He is different. The Father takes independent, self-determined action. But the only one who can do whatever the Father does has to be someone who is equal with the Father. He said, I do what I see the Father doing. So we come back again. This is to the Hebrews 1 I was referring to. If we want to know what God is like, then we look at Christ, because Christ does what God does. He is able to do what God does. So when we see Christ showing compassion to the poor, when we see Christ healing the sick, when we see Christ challenging the Pharisees, we are seeing what the Father does. And that's why to get to know Christ is just the absolute key to knowing God. I've just finished writing something to a group of Christian leaders who, they talk about multiculturalism, and they're talking about, all different paths to the same God and so on. I'm just thinking, no, you don't understand. What Jesus said was so radical, and it got him crucified, because he's saying he and the Father are one, and he knows what the Father wants, and he does what the Father does. And I think I'm going to leave it there, because for me, that thought that Jesus does what the Father does is so helpful, because I can see what Jesus does, and because I can see what Jesus does, I know what the Father does. Does that make sense to you? It kind of works and clicks for me. Anyway, we'll continue this tomorrow, because he goes even deeper tomorrow when we go on to verse 20. God bless you, and see you then. Bye.